Good day, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast, Sincere Emotions. I am your host, Joy Javelle. Today, I wanted to talk to you all about a little cognitive distortion. Some people probably know what that means, and some people probably don't. So, I'm going to break it down a little bit for you because it plays a major role in mental health, right? So, one of the things that happens with cognitive distortion is, let's just say, all or nothing thinking, right? A lot of us have that all or nothing thinking. Basically, we see things in black and white categories, right? So if your performance, like, let's just say if you're doing something and your performance falls short of perfect, you automatically see yourself as a total failure. That's basically all or nothing thinking. You should not look at yourself as a total failure just because you fall short of perfect, because no one is perfect. No one. Absolutely no one is perfect. A lot of times when you mess up or something goes on, you have, let's just say, coaches or teachers or parents in your ear, fussing at you about something you did wrong. That's not cool. It's not cool because it makes you start seeing yourself as a total failure. And it's not good. So it's okay to let them know right now the way you talking to me is making me feel like a total failure. You completely forgot about all the good things I've done before that moment. Don't allow that all or nothing thinking affect you, okay? Mental filter, right? With mental filter, you basically pick out a single negative detail and dwell on it exclusively so that your vision of a reality becomes darkened. It's amazing how many times we do that. Like the drop of ink of that discolor the entire beaker of water, pretty much. Like seriously. So then you start disqualifying the positive. You reject, I'm not going to say you, but we reject positive experience by insisting they don't count. I don't know why. For some reason or the other, we pretty much reject our positive experience by insisting they don't count. I don't understand why we do that. A lot of people love jumping to conclusions. So we basically make a negative interpretation even though there is no definite fact that support our conclusion. Basically mind reading. We basically mind reading. We basically conclude that someone is reacting negatively to us and don't bother to check it out. Nobody is mind readers. We have to stop jumping to conclusions. I know I've done it a lot. I'm not even going to lie to you. There's been plenty of times where I went places and I look around my surroundings and the first thing I'm like, okay, they don't want me here. They just stared at me. They don't want me here. I immediately just jump to conclusions like I'm a mind reader, not knowing, hey, anybody that knows me, I have a sense of fashion that I kind of like to stand out. And I don't care when I walk in a room, you might not like what I have on, but I'm going to make you look. Point blank. And the whole time I'm knowing this as I'm getting dressed, But when I go into these places or events or something, that whole total idea is just gone. I turns into a mind reader at that point. Like, I'm not a mind reader. Get over it. Or you turn into the fortune teller area. You pretty much anticipate that things will turn out badly, and you pretty much feel convinced that your prediction is an already established fact. Wow. A lot of you don't even realize you do that. Next time you walk into a room, watch how you do that. You're just gonna start jumping to conclusions. Somebody looking at you, you're gonna jump to conclusion on what they thinking. Oh, they hating on me. They just stare. Everybody staring at me. They hating on me. No. A lot of them people love what you got on. Probably. A lot of those people are admiring you, and I mean seriously. When anybody walks into a room, people are going to look at you regardless. I mean, that's just common sense. I don't care where you walk into, any room you walk into, people are going to look at you. That's like walking into your house. When you walk into your house, the person that stays with you is going to look at you. So you don't jump to conclusions on what they thinking. So why do we do it when we go in public places? That's cognitive distortion. We have to figure out a way to work around that because it starts playing with your mental health state of mind. We tend to do a lot of emotional reasoning. You assume that your negative emotions necessarily reflect the way things really are. Pretty much like, I, I feel it, therefore it must be true. What? How so? Please explain to me how so. You know, that it kind of reminds me of like those should statements that we do. You know, you try to motivate yourself with shoulds and shouldn'ts as if you had to be whipped and punished before you could be expected to do anything. Must and oughts are also offenders. When pretty much the emotional consequence is guilt. When we direct should statement towards others, we feel anger, frustration, and resentment. That's not healthy. So at that point, we start labeling and mislabeling people. Now, labeling and mislabeling people is a form of overgeneralization. Like, that's not cool at all. You hate when somebody label or mislabel you, but when you do it, it's okay. A lot of people don't understand that. We all have labeled or mislabeled someone. So what makes us any better that we can't be labeled or mislabeled? If you know it's not you, why does it bother you so much? So instead of describing your error, you attach a negative label to yourself. Like, I'm a loser. What? Don't ever wake up and tell yourself that you are a loser. When someone else's behavior rubs you the wrong way, you attach a negative label to um, that person. Mislabeling involves describing an event with language that is highly colored and emotionally loaded. Pretty much. Labeling and mislabeling is something that we all have to deal with now in society. Unfortunately, it happens frequently. It makes you personalization. You know, you see yourself as the cause of some negative external event. In fact, you know, in fact, pretty much you were not primarily responsible for it. Like that, that was really, 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 really true. You know, because you overgeneralize that. You overgeneralization. You see a single negative event as a never-ending pattern of defeat. A lot of this has to do with self-sabotage too. You know, we have to be careful with a lot of these things. You know, if you're not familiar with cognitive distortions, take some time to read up on it. You'll see a lot of the things that you do that you probably should not be doing. It plays a major role in mental health and the way we think when we're battling mental health. It's almost like, okay, so if you've ever been to a treatment center and you've had to go to like groups or whatnot, and in these groups, or if you've been to deal with substance abuse and you've been to like a AA meeting or something, um, you sit around and you listen to everybody's, situations. I don't like when people call them problems. I call them situations. And honestly, before anybody start talking, you walk in a room and you start feeling a certain way. You feel like someone is looking at you wrong. You feel like someone is judging you, or if you processing your situation and somebody is talking, you start thinking that they're probably talking about you or they're not paying you any attention. You know, it's so many things that goes on in the midst of processing that we have to stop looking at it that way. Like a lot of times when you process, a lot of people think that you're supposed to only process negative things. No, you don't. I know for me, sometimes when I go into certain groups or processing, I kind of sometimes feel selfish when I want to talk about the good things that's been going on or how great my life has been and how proud I am of the changes I've made or the growth I've done. I be feeling kind of selfish about talking about it. And that's the same thing some of us do in life. You know, when we have certain family members or certain friends we go around that's going through something, you know, we, we feel selfish about sharing our good news or how good things are going for us. It should not be that way. It should not be that way. You should be able to express your good feeling, because what happens is that feeling of them feeling down can overpower your good feeling. And then there you are falling back into the sadness at that moment. And then when you leave, you're finally able to express your happiness. No, you should be able to express your happiness at all times. If you're a happy person, be happy. If you had something good happen to you, show that it's been good to you. Don't be afraid. Don't feel like you're being selfish. No, you've put in work to get to that happy moment. So acknowledge your happy moments. Just like I was saying in one of my recent podcasts, everyone should have a therapist. And when you think of a therapist is